My career journey. When I go back 6 years down the lane, the moments which were depressing at that time seems funny to me right now. I mean, my career is filled with so many ironies. A person who wanted to go into the IITs, go into IIT Bombay Mechanical in particular, went on a whim to pursue computer science at IIIT Hyderabad. The person who hated research with all of his heart published a few research papers, did a poster presentation, got a patent in deep learning project at Adobe when I was an intern. Then I got a gold medal. Then I went into Google after having failed the interviews during my internship. So there are too many ironies which keep on happening in my life, in my career. I'm glad I'm here at this moment with you all to share how my career panned out. You must know all the golden moments of my career, but I am here to share all the intricate details, to share all the struggles, all the depressing moments, what mistakes I did, what learnings I gained from them, so that you don't repeat those mistakes and learn from my experiences. Let's rewind back to 2016, the year when I thought all my difficulties will end. Does life happen like that? It never gets smoother and smoother. 2016, I gave my JEE Advance. I was already having around top 100 ranking in JEE Mains, so I was getting admission into IIIT Hyderabad and BITS Pilani Computer Science. I went on a whim to pursue computer science only. Earlier, my dream was to get into IIT Bombay Mechanical. But yeah, I was loving the quaint vibes of the city of Hyderabad and the small, beautiful campus of IIIT. So yes, I followed my journey into IIIT Hyderabad, irrespective of the fact that I was getting into all the new IITs in computer science and all the old IITs in other fields. First semester coming into IIIT Hyderabad, it was an overwhelming experience for me. All of them are prodigies. Some of them are great in competitive programming. Some started studying on the first day itself. Someone was doing open source. Someone is cracking GSOC in the first year itself. So you can say it was a traumatic experience in one go, but it was kind of a beautiful peer pressure that was created around me. Me coming completely from a JEE background, knew nothing else but to study. So I decided one thing, let's focus on study. Let's put in the hard work because that's all we know as at the moment. Surprisingly, at the end of the first year, without any expectations, I got 10 CGPA and everyone around me was talking about me. So something that started completely out without pressure, with that 10 CGPA, it kind of handicapped me. I was like, 7 semesters are left, I need to consistently perform. What happens if I get 8 CGPA in the next semester? Everyone around me is going to laugh. So I kind of got into that pressure. Now for the remaining semesters, I need to keep working hard and make sure my CGPA doesn't drop down. So that's where my academic strength and academic journey kept on moving ahead, but with a little bit of pressure. Remember I talked about peer pressure. I started a lot of amazing journeys due to that peer pressure. Competitive programming, web development and whatnot. To be honest, if you ask me, is peer pressure good? I certainly felt it beautiful because it was bringing out the best in me. I got so much addicted to competitive programming that I kept on giving contests both live and virtual on Codeforces, CodeChef and everywhere I could. Slowly I became a 5-star rated coder on CodeChef. Nothing about it to brag right now because a lot of people are today. But at that time, it gave me a sense of confidence and a sense that yes, okay, Anshul, you can do competitive programming, you are good in problem solving. And that was the phase which dwelled me inside the problem solving part. I slowly started to diversify my passion into different other streams. I was always passionate about how much amazing things we could do with data. Not exactly artificial intelligence or machine learning at that time because I was a newbie. But yes, I was aware that we have an enormous amount of data and we could do a lot of amazing things with it. So I took an artificial intelligence course in my second year, and again, surprisingly, as you can say, there was a tournament, like the end semester exams, we had a tournament wherein we were supposed to program a bot. And the bot that we programmed, like me and my friend programmed, it was one of the finalists. So again, it gave me a kick, a boost that, okay, Anshul, artificial intelligence is also something that you could pursue, something which is not out of your hands completely. So yes, from there, I started diversifying my journey into machine learning, deep learning, data science, data analytics, and all the places that I always wanted to explore. To be honest, I did a few mistakes during my first few semesters. Not that I regret about it, but something that I can share with you. I could not pursue a lot of my interests because I did stuff feeling a little suffocated. I felt that my hands were a little tied out of the expectations that I had created for my own self. So I tried to change my attitude. I made sure that I wanted to explore more stuff, as I mentioned, in machine learning, data science, and all of that. So I got rid of all the shackles that I had created for myself, and honestly, it didn't affect my academics a lot. I mean, surely my CGPA did suffer a bit on that, but it didn't decrease below 9.5 throughout the course of my 8 semesters. And ultimately, I got the Institute Gold Medal. So one tip from my side to all the college students or to anyone who wants to pursue their passion, make sure you explore as much as you want, because those 4 years of college or the time that you are spending right now, that's not going to come back. And I want to make sure that you don't regret as you wanted to do something, but you could not pursue it because you were bound by the expectations or bound by the peer pressure or what the society will say or what your friends will say. So go for it. I guess it was somewhere in my 5th or 6th semester that I met an amazing professor, Ponurangam Kumar Guru. He had a very different perspective towards research and the work that he did. I think that phase of my college kicked my life or kicked my career into a completely different trajectory, the research phase of my college time. I was supposed to be working on Elections 2019 project along with the social media analysis. We did some amazing threads of work. We printed a few research papers. We did a lot of analysis and posted it on social media. Surprisingly, like as a kid of 20 years old or 21 years old, you don't expect your work to create so much impact. But we were getting contacted by different news houses. Our work was covered by Aaj Tak as well, and it was also printed in other newspapers. So that was kind of an overwhelming experience, but I think it was a very legit experience for me to have it at such a young age, to know that, okay, like this is the work that can create impact, that can affect the lives around me, and this is what makes me feel good. So ultimately, the lesson from this is that you should work on parts that make you feel happy. You should go to sleep confidently, comfortably at night, not thinking about, okay, I wasted my whole day doing this particular thing in which I'm not passionate about. So make sure you work on stuff that makes you feel good about yourself. By the time I started working on my project on Elections 2019 and social media, I got more attracted towards data science and machine learning. So I took a course on machine learning in my 6th semester, if I'm not wrong, and I was first in the class. That's not the funny part. The funny part is the person who came next to me, the person who came second, he had 20% lesser marks than me. So surprisingly, like, the professor had to remove my grades from the class set so that the Gaussian curve didn't get affected by my grades and other students' grades were not affected by my grades. So, I mean, it was kind of I felt that it was a message from God that, son, you keep working hard, don't ever doubt your capabilities or your talent. You keep working hard and you will get the fruit based upon the hard work that you are doing. So that's the message that I want to share to everyone, to not focus on the results a lot, to not dwell into the pressure created by the fruits or created by what result you will get and what not. Make sure you are aligned with your interest, you keep on working in that direction, and sooner or later you are going to get the results that you dreamt of. In the next semester, I took a course on big data and policing. So I had this crazy idea in my mind, like I was getting some traffic e-challans. So I was like, what if we can collect this data from somewhere and publish some amazing insights out of it? I was like curious, what all stuff can we do with that data? So me and my team, we minted on some ideas around which we prepared a research paper, published it, and did a poster presentation. It was a super exciting experience for me, to be honest, because I felt it was kind of my baby. Like, I worked upon that idea, merged some ideas from my friends and worked upon that project completely. So, I mean, the thing is, the ideas, you will get some amazing ideas during the course of your college and always like during the course of your career as well. So never feel shy or afraid to pursue them or to discuss them with your friends, because you may not know from where the help may arrive for you, and maybe it's just knocking the door besides you. So the next part of my college life is a little scary for me, a little funny for you, and kind of depressing with where it ends. The internship drive. Okay, not so happy for everyone, happy for some, joyous for some others, and scary for the remaining folks. It was scary for me. I was able to clear the online coding rounds for almost all the companies that were coming to my college, but sad enough, I was not able to clear the technical interviews. I still had not figured out what was the reason why I was not able to clear, but among those companies included some of the ones in which I dreamt of working at. Some of them were like D-Shaw, Google, and so on. I so much wanted to work for them, but sadly, I could not. And there is a funny incident related to like the internship time, like I was giving technical interviews and all of that. So I went to the D-Shaw's office on a Sunday at 8 a.m. in the morning to give the technical interviews. I gave 3 technical interviews and an HR round. So it was almost like 10 to 12 hours of my time like I was giving to give the technical interviews. And I was almost certain, like all the interviews were good and I was obviously selected for the HR round. So in my mind, I had like, okay, I am going to clear this internship at last. And there are only 2 students who got like shortlisted for the HR round. So I was like, they're not going to reject one among the 2 of them. But funny enough, next day, my friend called me that, hey, did you check Facebook, like the results for D-Shaw are out? And he was laughing and he was like, maybe the stars are not aligned in your direction and maybe you need to do some puja or some ritual you need to carry out so that you get selected finally. So I was at the mess at that time and I was just looking around me hoping that no one who knew me or who knew that I applied for D-Shaw and almost gave party and treat to my friends for getting selected in it was around me. So I was kind of taken aback with that experience that even after performing so good, I was ultimately rejected. And I kind of spent the next few days sitting inside my hostel room trying to figure out how bad I am and how big loser I am in this particular part of my college life. So ultimately, I got internship at Adobe as a product intern. So the recruiter contacted me and said that, okay, do you want to pursue research internship? Because like your grades are so good and we would like if you can contribute somewhere in the research field. So I was like, I was not very sure about research at that time. And to be honest, like even though I was pursuing some research work with my BTP project and all of that, I was not 100% confident if that was the career stream that I wanted to pursue. Nevertheless, I went ahead with product intern, but when I went there, like my internship was at Adobe Noida. So when I went there, the hiring manager or the manager of mine, he told me that, okay, you are going to work on this project where the ultimate goal is to get a patent. So it was a completely research oriented field wherein I had to work on a deep learning project of which I had absolutely zero idea. Like I was first in the class in machine learning course, that's completely a different thing. And going on to creating deep learning models is a completely different domain. So I was a little scared that, okay, how will this internship pan out? So like for the first 9 weeks, no concrete results actually came. Obviously, we were putting in good effort, me and my teammate, both of us were interns. We were putting in good efforts. I was able to grasp the concepts of like the core technologies of Adobe as well as deep learning models and all of that, but we are not getting results. So we had almost given up. Like it was just 1 week remaining of our internship and we had given up. But my friend was like, okay, let's give one more shot. Let's try to tweak some model. Let's try to change the algorithm for data generation by a bit here and there. And surprisingly, like it worked. We were getting amazing results in just the last week. And we were like, okay, this is what research means. You get absolutely nothing for long durations. And all of a sudden you wake up and it's like a eureka moment for you. So in the last week itself, it was much of a hustle and much of a hurry because we were not anticipating that our work might get patented. And fortunately, our work was producing good results. So my manager was like, let's complete the paperwork. Let's try to like document all the stuff that you have done, collect all the results and try to file for patent. We'll see what happens next. And after a few weeks, like when my internship was over, after a few weeks, my manager called me and congratulated me that like the work has been selected to get a patent. And it was like almost in May 2021, that's just last year, it was finally patented in the US files. So it was kind of a happy moment for me that nevertheless, like I was failing in a lot of interviews during my internship time, but whatever happened, maybe it was for the good, maybe there were some different things which were planned out for me, maybe I was not aware of the destiny at that time, but ultimately life came to a good happy circle. I have heard this somewhere that if the ending is happy, it may not be the ending. And so it did happen. I didn't get the PPO for Adobe, and it was like go back to scratch one, start preparing for placements again. So by the time I realized that okay, I'm not going to get a PPO, I started to figure out what went wrong the previous time during my internship, like when I was giving the technical interviews. I realized one thing, that I was able to solve the questions even during the interviews, but something was lacking was the communication part. I was not able to communicate my ideas properly to the interviewer. I knew the solution, but how I came upon that solution, what all different things which were going on my mind at that time when I was providing the solution, the communication, there was some gap. I was not translating my ideas properly. So that was something that I tried to polish upon. I tried to talk to myself, record myself, like how I was speaking, am I able to make sense to others. I gave some mock interviews with my friends, I discussed my approaches with them, just to make sure that my communication is on the spot the next time I'm going to give a technical interview for any company which comes during the placement. So I knew I had to ramp myself back up on with data structures and algorithms. So I started preparing on interview bit. I also solved a lot of questions on Codeforces and CodeChef as much as I could do. So during my placement drive, the first company that was going to come to IIIT Hyderabad was Google. I got shortlisted for it, but I had a little bit of dilemma because it kind of merged with my end semesters. So my friend advised me, and it was a beautiful advice. He told me that whatever decision you make, either to focus on your assignments and end sems or to focus preparing for Google interviews, it's up to you. But make sure that you don't have a feeling of regret in future that okay, an opportunity was knocking on my door, but I chose to ignore it and focus somewhere else, which is not going to create so much impact down the line in future. So I took his advice. I started to focus upon my interview preparations, solved a lot of questions from Google Archives on different coding platforms, and I felt I was confident. Like my interview was supposed to start at 12 a.m. in the night, and I had 3 consecutive interviews which kept on going on till 4 a.m. in the morning. I had a very decent experience with the Google interviews. I mean, I kind of felt happy throughout. It was not like I was creating some sort of pressure on myself to clear those interviews. Because if you ask me honestly, I was not expecting that I would be able to clear those interviews because there were so many amazing candidates from my college itself who were competing with me for the same position. I was not at all expecting, but after the 3 interviews were over, the recruiter told me that okay, we are satisfied with your interviews. You can go to sleep and we will call you next day, next morning sometime and share the results with you if you get selected. So next noon, when I was correcting some papers for one of the course in which I was a teaching assistant, I got a phone call from the placement council that the recruiter wants to meet you. And there were kind of dual feelings inside my mind that okay, is it a rejection, they want to take an extra interview, or okay, probably I did crack it. So I was like, okay, can you tell me what's happening? Why does the recruiter want to meet me? And my friend told me, like he was in the placement council, so he told me that they want to discuss the offer with you. So I kind of had a imaginary fist pump inside my mind that okay, yes, I cracked the Google interview and now I'm going to be called a Googler. I was more happy because the next day was my birthday and I wanted to surprise my parents by going to my hometown and sharing with them the amazing news on my birthday itself that okay, now I'm a Googler, or perhaps after 6 months I would be called a Googler. So it was a very sweet and a kind of a nostalgic moment for me. My parents, like when I went to home, they were crying. They were like, why did you did take a break during your placements and come back in between? I was like, okay, I have got an offer at Google. I have cracked the Google interviews. So they started crying happily. So it was a very pleasant moment for me, which I am going to cherish for the rest of my life. August 2020, I started working at Google when COVID was going on. It was a virtual onboarding for all of us. there were mixed feelings inside my mind. There was a little bit of arrogance because I was one of the few people who got selected for Google, but that arrogance soon turned into dust due to imposter syndrome. You look everywhere around you, people are so good, so talented, you start to doubt yourself. Okay, am I the right person? Did they select the right person, or did they make a mistake while selecting me? So those feelings kept on coming inside my mind. But the part of the team which I was in, like I was a part of Cloud Search team in Google Cloud. So the team was kind of very young from the perspective of age as well, and young from the perspective of when it started as well. So it was a very young team. The atmosphere was so chill, it was so flexible. There was no micromanagement at all from my manager's side. The mentors were sweet, the manager was amazing, and the people were so good. Like, they had so much faith in me that, okay, these guys can do it, like all the new grads who are coming in, they can do it. But I kind of had a doubt inside my mind that, okay, what if I am not able to do it? Are people going to judge me? More than that, what will my friends think about me? What will I think about myself? Am I going to be able to do it? It's been 2 years now, and I think I have done a pretty decent job compared to how I felt when I joined Google. After almost 3 to 4 weeks of ramp up, I finally started a project under the guidance of my mentor. Like, he was leading the project from the front, but I was given an independent technical portion which I led completely through and through. Next up, I led my own project from designing it to completing the implementation as well as launching it. So it was a very new experience for me. And talking about my current situation, right now I'm working on a major project in which there is a lot of rigorous designing, adding some new infrastructure, cross-functional collaborations, a lot of proof of concepts to be done, and a lot of experimentations. So it's kind of a new leadership experience for me without any mentorship or without a lot of help from my senior engineers. And to be honest, I have seen a lot of growth in me as a software engineer in this last 6 months than the remaining part of my career, like almost 4 years of college and 1.5 years before this 6 months. I have seen tremendous growth and exponential growth in me in this last 6 months. So working in a product team which is directly being used by external customers can be overwhelming. Like, you may be asked to handle some customer issues on an urgent basis. You are expected to ship new features on time along with maintaining the existing features. So it can be tiresome switching the context on and off in between. But Google is not just about the technical portions. I am involved in so many non-technical aspects of Google, like I contribute tremendously to the hiring drives of Google. During the on-campus placements last year for the IITs, I took 7 consecutive interviews from 10 p.m. at night to 8 a.m. in the morning. So it was a completely different journey to be from one side of the table to the other table, to understand how the candidates would actually be feeling at that time at 12 a.m. in the night or at 4 a.m. in the morning, how they are able to manage so much pressure with so much expectations underneath them. I have also worked on a lot of other initiatives led by Google related to mentoring college students as well as assisting NGOs to reach their goals using Google products. To be honest, I am very excited at the position in which my team is. I certainly believe that my team has the potential to create next level impact for Google. This opens up path for tremendous growth for me, both me and the engineers around me. I personally feel that I am going to gain a lot of leadership skills. I am going to make a lot of important technical contributions by leading major projects independently, as well as mentoring new grads and so on. So the journey is going to be exciting, and I honestly think that this is the career journey which has just started. Fingers crossed. I know my career journey had lots of ups and downs. I hope you enjoyed the ups, laughed a bit in my downs, learned from the mistakes that I did. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you like, share, and hit the subscribe button on Scalar's YouTube channel. Also make sure that you hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any notifications the next time.